Hello there, this is DBT and this is Art of Rooms. And alright, let's continue talking about Asphalt Legends. And I say talking because today we're having a look at the special hunt that just started for the car that you see on the screen right now, which is of course the Koenigsegg CCXR. And oh boy, this hunt certainly is special. But not just because of the name of the event, but rather because this whole thing launched bugged and then they made some changes and it's still weird. But no worries, we'll have a look at all of that. But before I get into it, if you enjoy my content, please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. As I always say, this helps the channel to continue to grow and it keeps me going. But more importantly, once we reach the 25,000 subscribers, I'm gonna be doing a 12-hour live stream of Roomy games, all of that with face cam. So if you wanna see DBT's face, that's your opportunity. But first we need to get to 25,000. So if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do it. It's free and it helps, so why not? But alright, this entire video will be divided into chapters so that you can jump to whichever topic is the most relevant to you. But I'm gonna start from the very beginning as if we don't know what a special hunt is, and I'm gonna basically do the breakdown of the whole thing and all of that. So yeah, jump to whichever part is the most relevant to you. But the first thing we need to have a look at is the car itself, the Koenigsegg CCXR, and I hope that at the start of this video I did say CCXR, not CC850, because sometimes I mix them up, but no, this is the one, CCXR. And I already made a video talking about this car, dropping it in multiplayer. I'll put the link in the top right if you want to watch that. I recommend you to watch it because over there I talked about as to whether or not this car is good and all of that. But basically, as a quick overview, we have a Class S car of 6 stars, maximum rank of 4998. And when we have a look at the stats, we have a top speed that for the rank looks quite low at 412.2. Acceleration at 79.40. While it's not particularly good, it's not terrible either, so it's just there. It's a mid acceleration. But when we have a look at the handling and the nitro, both of these stats are pretty high, especially for Class S. So while this car in paper actually looks not very good because low speed for the rank and acceleration that is not very good, these other two stats definitely make it into a very fun car to drive. Now, whether or not you think this is a good car to play in multiplayer and be competitive, that's a completely different topic, and I'll talk more about it at the end of this video. But for now, just wanted to present you the stats of the car, and well, there it is, if you didn't know it. But now, let's talk about what is a special hunt. So, unlike regular car hunts that you find on daily events, special hunts you find under special events. And in a way, these type of hunts are very similar to what we know as key hunts, where you're gonna be, the idea of this whole thing is for you to grind this event, get a bunch of blueprints, and eventually get all of the blueprints, and eventually get the key as well for the car. However, there are some differences. I suppose the most important one to mention over here is the fact that not only do you need to get all of the blueprints of the car and get it to max stars, but you actually have to gold the car, and that is where these events are considerably different and a bit more, not a bit, quite more demanding than regular hunts, though it does have a bunch of caveats. So basically, the idea is that starting this hunt, because it's a key car, the car is by default already at 1 star, so you have access to stage 1, in which you want to be doing this race a bunch of times in order to get these packs and get enough blueprints to get this car to the 2nd star. Once you have that, this stage will be made available to you, or rather you will be able to get the rewards. You start going over here and it's the same thing. At this point, you're gonna need to get and grind this event a bunch of times, get all of these packs, eventually get enough blueprints to get to the 3rd star, so on and so forth. Basically, once you manage to get the car at 6 stars, you're not done yet, because then you need to grind stage 6, in which you're no longer grinding for blueprints, but rather for epics, because you need all of the epics. Like I said, this event requires you to straight up gold this car, that is to say, get all of the blueprints, get all of the epics, and apply all of them, and only then you will have a shot at going at stage 7 and completing this race in order to get this key. Now, the thing is that the requirement over here only says that you need the car at 6 stars, right? And well, you know, you need to beat this time, and if you're a great player, you might be able to do it even with less stars than that. The problem is that actually, if you have a look in the required rank, it says 4998, which is straight up the gold rank of this car. That's why I said that in this event, you 100% need to gold the car. Now, there's another caveat to that related to overclocking, but we will talk about that a little bit later in this video. For now, that is the idea of the special hunt. Basically, you start up starting up the car, and as you start the car, you advance into additional stages, continue grinding them, get more blueprints, all of that, get all of the epics, and eventually get the car at gold, do the last stage, and get the key. And that is how you can get a Class S car at gold for free, but extremely grindy. Now, to try to make the progression a little bit more understandable, I'm gonna put on the screen over here a breakdown that I like doing on how this type of events work. Because while the event is indeed very grindy, in a way the event also provides you, not in a way, it literally provides you everything that you need in order to be able to complete this thing. And basically it goes like this. The very first stage that you're gonna be able to do, well, let me put it over there on the screen. Stage 1, you require 40 blueprints in order to complete this stage. 40 blueprints that you need to get over there. Now you can see that in the drop rate, I put a plus sign just to indicate that there is a drop rate. And credits 2/4. What I mean by that is that in these packs that you can get in the event, let me show you over here. In these packs, not only you can get the blueprints, parts, you can also get some credits, either 2 or 4,000. That's why I wrote it in that way. 2 and 4 for the credits. You will see why that's important in a second. But alright, that is basically the idea of the very first stage. Now let's talk about stage number 2. And again, this is where things start getting a little bit interesting with the way that this whole thing is set up. In stage 2, you're gonna need 45 blueprints in order to finish that stage. You can see that the drop rate I marked it as 2+ sign. That doesn't mean that the drop rate is twice as good as in the first one. It's just to indicate that the drop rate was increased by a little bit. And we'll talk about percentages in a bit, but for now, it's just a bit of an idea. Now you can see that the credits over there are gonna be either 3,000 or 5,000. So I think that's pretty clear, right? So once again, you're gonna need 45 blueprints to reach the next stage, which is gonna be stage number 3. Now for this one, you're gonna need 60 blueprints to finish that stage. The drop rate once again improved compared to the previous one, and you can see that the credits also increased. Now it's 3,000 and 6,000, or 6,000. So I think this is clear, right? How this whole thing works. Stage 4 obviously similar, but once again we got additional increments. Stage 4, you're gonna need 70 blueprints. The drop rate once again increases, and the credits that you can get in those packs can be either 4,000 or 8,000. Now this whole thing of me talking about the credits matter, because obviously you need more and more blueprints, so you need to grind this event more and more and more. But even if you don't get the blueprints on those packs, it is very likely you're going to be getting a bunch of credits. And that is why I keep on saying that this type of events can provide you everything that you need. Because even if you're short of the 42 million credits that you need, you're still going to be able to grind a lot within this event by itself. Now here's where things get a little bit strange, and this is different than previous hunts. I'm gonna put over here the information about stage 5, and yeah, stage 5 you need 85 blueprints, but you can see that the drop rate stayed the same, and in fact the credits also stayed the same as for an 8,000. This is not how normally this is, and I'll tell you why this is in a second, but for now, that is basically stage number 5. You need even more blueprints, the drop rate remain the same as the previous stage, and the credits, same thing. Finally, the very last stage, number 6, it's where you're gonna need no longer blueprints, but rather epics. You need to grind for 16 epics, or however you are missing to get a total of 16. The drop rate, I marked it as a minus sign to indicate that is absolutely abysmal drop rate. Once again, I'll talk about the percentages in a bit, but for now I just wanted to tell you this. The credits do improve quite a bit. 7.5k, meaning 7,500 credits, or 15,000. Now, here's why I said that this whole thing is strange, because this is not the way that this should be. The way it should be, it's this. This is how these hunts are supposed to be. The main difference is in stage 5. You can see that in stage 5, the drop rate is insanely high compared to stage 4. This is how they should be, but there was an error when they launched this event where some things were flipped, and then in order to fix them, they just repeat the packs from stage 4 into stage 5. So the drop rates are once again the same in between those. It's a bit of a mess. Again, this is the ideal case, how it should be, but the reality, the way that it is, it's this right now. So let's talk about the drop rates to be a little bit more clear as to what the heck I'm talking about. So when this event launched, first things first, the event launched late. It didn't launch at the time that it was supposed to. It took a while to show up, but eventually it did. And we're like, okay, it's late, but it's fine. It's here. And here are the drop rates that are, applied in this event. So in stage number 1, you have a drop rate for the blueprints of 7.85%. In stage 2, it's better of 9.80%. Stage 3 is 11.76. Stage 4 is 13.72. And in stage 5, we got 1% and 15%. Now, what does that mean? Normally, as you can see, obviously, the drop rate goes increasing stage by stage. And in stage 5, not only do you have the ability to get blueprints for the car, but you can also get epics in those packs. And the way that it's normally set up is that 50% is for the blueprints and 1% chance for the epics. However, they messed it up. And if you see, the one that I marked with the asterisk, which means the epic import part, is at 15%. They had them flipped somehow. So that meant that you had a 1% chance of getting blueprints in the pack. You had 15% chance of getting epics. That was completely wrong, absolutely wrong. That's not how it's meant to be. Again, the real way that this was supposed to be was this. 15% for the blueprint, 1% for the epic. But they made a little bit of an oopsie and they did it backwards. So that's why they had to fix this. But anyway, just to finish, stage 6 has a 2% drop chance for the epics. Now, once again, the ideal scenario should be this. This is how it's supposed to be. And yet, because I believe Game Love right now, it's on holiday and all of that, there's not people really to get this fixed. They did a bit of a patch. They did a bit of a thing, not a patch to the game, but rather just a little fix to the event. What they did was simply repeat the packs from stage 4 into stage 5, which means the drop rate should be the same at this moment, which is actually a really, really bad thing. And how do I even know that? Well, let's have a look. Each one of the stages has the packs with a number of stars, right? There it is. So this is stage 3. It has 3 stars right here. If we have a look at stage 4, we have packs of 4 stars, right? Great. If we have a look at stage 5, we have packs of 4 stars. That's right. And this is bad because not only can we no longer get the epics, we no longer get 2 blueprints per drop, because that is the peculiarity of stage 5 in all of the special hunts. That you no longer get 1 blueprint per drop, but rather 2, which makes this stage a lot of fun, really quickly, fantastic to do. But this time around, as it stands at this moment, stage 5 is no better at all than stage 4. So, yep, it's a bit of an inconvenience. I do hope that they fix this, because otherwise, this alone is going to make this into a way harder hunt than any of the previous one. Because again, let's remember, you are going to be needing... Let me see, where should be this one? Yes. No, actually, this is not the one I wanted. Sorry, it's just that I have everything here on... There we go. All right. For stage 5, you're going to need 85 blueprints, still with the drop rate of stage 4. It's a lot of blueprints, a ton of blueprints. So, nah, it's not great, I tell you, not great. Now, the small blessing over here, and again, very small blessing, is hoping that they're gonna fix this in a few days, and we don't even have access to stage 5 anymore. This only opens until January 2nd. So we won't be able to see what's going on over here until it's that date. And hopefully by then, Gameloft is going to have someone in the office to be like, okay, let me fix this and make it the way that it should be. Because seriously, as it stands right now, this stage is not good. I mean, you should still get the blueprints over here and the tokens, but once you're done, I mean, this stage is no better than stage 4. So yeah, it's gonna be weird. But anyway, I want to talk about another special thing. Not special, I keep on saying the word special. Another thing that you can do in these events in theory. And that is going to be the Overclock trick in this type of events. Now, remember that I said that in stage 7, you need to have the car at gold in order to get this key, because the rank is required as such over here. Well, there's a bit of a trick when there is Overclock available for the car of the hunt, which tends to be the case for these special hunts. Overclock allows you to basically overcharge this car over its current state by spending some of your overclock chips, and that gives you an additional 133 points of additional rank to your current rank. What that means is that technically speaking, you don't really need to get the car to 49.98 to the gold rank. Instead, you could keep it at a minimum of 48.65, upgrading it in whichever way you can, and then overclock it, and those additional 133 points will get you to this rank. Obviously, you can go over it, it's fine. But yeah, that is another way to make, or rather to unlock this car quicker than when you gold it. I would still recommend you to gold the car, that is for sure, because hey, it's an opportunity to get the car at gold, and why not, right? But if you find yourself short on epics, or for some reason you just don't have the credits to finish the thing at 100%, you can do the overclock trick, and that will allow you to get the key even if the car is technically not at gold. So there is that little bit of a trick. Now, there's one thing though, and I like to make this very clear. As it stands right now for the season, the car is overclockable. However, this special hunt extends over the length of the current season in the game. That is to say, this event lasts for a total of 14 days, but this season is gonna end in 9 days. So once this season ends and the next season begins, this hunt is still gonna be going on. But we don't know for sure as to whether or not this car will be overclockable next season. So keep that in mind. This may work right now. You might be able to overclock the car at this moment, but maybe by the time next season drop, it is not overclockable. Now, there's a small workaround on that situation where when it's the very last day, if you want the very last hours of this season, you could just straight up overclock this car for 7 days. Or excuse me, 15 days. Oh, wow. 15 days. I thought it was 7. Okay. 15 days overclock. You can do the 15 days overclock. And with that, the car will remain overclocked in the next season as well. For the duration of those days, even if the car technically is not overclockable next season. I don't know if I'm making myself understood over here. I hope I am. But basically, that is a bit of a trick. And this is only in case the car is not going to be overclockable next season. But this is something that I don't know. Nobody knows other than Gameloft, not even content creators. We don't know if it's going to be overclockable. Most of the times, the car remains overclockable for the next season. But there was one single case, I don't remember for which car, but there was a case in which this was not the case. It was only overclockable on the first season, not overclockable in the second. So this, I'm telling you, is a bit of a workaround if you want to try it. If you're worried that you're not going to be able to gold the car and you want to do the overclock trick, that is a way that you can do it. But again, I don't know. It's up to you. Just telling you what it could be. And I'm gonna get into doing, oh, I clicked the wrong one. I'm gonna get into doing a race over here to start my progress into trying to unlock this car. But there's something else to mention over here, and that is gonna be the race duration, because, oh boy, we got long races again. Now, special hunts have been very, very, what would I say, peculiar when it comes to the duration of the races, because in some of these hunts, we have gotten races that are like the 30 seconds variant or 40 something seconds, whatever it is, right? Which are nice because you're gonna be doing this race a ton of times in order to be able to get everything, right? Let's not forget that this car requires a grand total of 300 blueprints plus the 16 epics plus 42 million. A ton of stuff required in order to get this car, so you need to do these races a ton of times. And then when the races are short, well, that's gonna be nice. But this time around, we actually have like a full minute, if not even 90-second variants. We don't know for sure which specific variants of the tracks they are, but if you go into each one of the stages and see the time requirements, all of them are over 1 minute, or most of them. So that leads me to believe that the races are the 90-second variants, and that is just pain. Because that means that these races take way longer to complete than in other hunts. So not only do you have to do a race 5, 6, 7, 800 times, it's gonna be 6, 7, 800 times races of about a minute. So that is not fantastic. That is actually a pretty bad thing, and I'm not happy about that. For now, there is one race, and probably I'm not gonna get much from it, but hey. Let's see, what did I get? All right, so I only got my guaranteed blueprints, but from the packs, nothing too special. Woof. But yeah, so basically, you can see again, the time over here, and if we go to any random other stage, you're gonna see that the times are still over a minute. So yeah, these are probably indeed the 90-second variants of the races. And you're gonna be doing these races so many times that this seriously increase the grind in this event. Just for the sake of having it on screen, here it is, the grand totals of what you need in the event. Again, 300 blueprints to take the car from no blueprints to 6 stars. You're gonna need 16 epics plus 42.5 million credits in order to gold the car. The thing lasts 14 days and you're gonna need easily over 700 races in order to get everything. Now then again, 700 races divided by 14 days, that's what, like 50 races? It's still probably gonna be more than that. Again, it really depends on your luck and all of that stuff and whatever. Also, whether or not they fix the stage 5 or not. So there's too many variables right now to tell you specifically, oh, it's gonna take this long. But this is just so that you have an idea that this is indeed an incredibly grindy event. So if you're thinking, oh man, I did 10 races and I only got a couple of blueprints, that is ridiculous. I got 1 or no blueprints, this is ridiculous. Man, you're really only at the start. You're gonna need way more than that a day in order to complete this event. So again, insanely grindy as all of these special hunts are, but especially this one where stage 5 is completely wrong. Now, don't mind me while I do some races over here while I continue talking about this, because I do want to basically address the point as to whether or not this hunt is worth doing. And like I said, I already made a video driving this car, talking about whether or not this is a car worth grinding and blah blah blah. What is different now? Why do I want to cover it again? Well, because once again, now we have this issue that the stages are somewhat wrong, and this makes the event considerably harder, as well as the fact that now we know that the races are way longer than we would wish they were. So these two things already make this hunt way more difficult. Now, whether or not you, or rather, for me to say whether or not you should be doing this hunt, it's gonna be a really subjective thing, because a lot of things matter. I know, and this is because I got a bunch of comments like this on the last video where I was talking about the car. People saying like, oh, this car is useless, oh my god, this car this, and blah 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 blah. As I keep on saying over there, and I try to say in these vehicles, this whole thing is very subjective. That is to say that this depends on your own specific and unique case of what you are doing in the game. What is your garage? What cars do you already have? Do you have a good car? Do you not? Do you have Class A's? Do you have already better cars than this? Do you have a car that already does this but worse or better? There's a ton of things to consider. So I cannot just sit here and instantly tell you, you should absolutely do this one. Now, I did say that for the hunt of the Ultima RS, because the Ultima RS is a very useful car, while this one, while still can have some use, maybe it's a bit more limited than the Ultima RS. Still, in my personal subjective opinion, you should go for this hunt if you have the time to do it, and that is a huge point, whether or not you have the time, because again, these are incredibly grindy to do, this one more so than previous ones. Because stage 5, it's simply wrong. Again, stage 5 is normally the one that is a lot of fun because you make progress on it super quick. It's a lot of fun because you really see progress and you're like, okay, this feels like a vacation moment type of thing. But no, this time around it's gonna be incredibly painful to do, and then you have to grind even more in stage 6. It's crazy, and the very long tracks as well is gonna make it even more painful. So while I am normally the guy to tell you like, no, you should absolutely do these hunts and all of that and blah 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 blah, this time I'm gonna just leave it at, it's up to you, really think about it, because this one does require a ton of grind, and as it stands right now, it's a very difficult hunt to complete, way more grindy than previous ones. So yep, it's gonna be rough. Now, I always say, hey, get a free car whenever you can, and it's a free Class S car at gold and all of that, and for that reason, I am going to be doing it. I'm gonna be trying to get this car on my Switch account. Here, this one that I'm playing right now, which is my global account, I don't think I'll focus on this car on this one, because again, it's too much grind to do it in 2 accounts. Oh man, I almost caught up to that dude. It's way too much grind to try to do in 2 accounts, so I'm only gonna focus on my main one. It's very difficult for me to just tell you, yeah, do it. Because again, if I were to say, no, hey everybody that you're watching this, go ahead and do this hunt, you need to unlock this car, really, I would put you on a path that is gonna be quite difficult to complete. Especially because again, you need to grind this so massively. Even regular hunts that are not bugged or that don't have the longer races, they still are a huge grind, but this is in a huger grind. So no, I cannot tell you in good faith to just go for it. But again, if you do have a ton of free time, if you want to do it, if you want to get this car, sure, go for it. But just keep in mind that the usability of this car is limited. I'm not saying that this car is the worst thing ever like some people do, but I can recognize that this car definitely around this rank is going to be competing against some other very strong cars, so it's not very likely that you're going to be getting straight up W's or anything. But you know, multiplayer is super random. I've seen some people wondering if this is a good card for Gauntlet. It certainly isn't, because Gauntlet mostly focuses at the moment on acceleration, and this card doesn't have it. So yeah, I can see why people are not super keen on getting this card. As I said, free card is free, so I'm gonna try to get it, but whether you want to do it or not, it's completely up to you. Tons of grind. The hunt is harder than difficult by design, and then it's harder than difficult by a bug that they sort of kind of fix, but not really. So there's a ton of things to consider. Again, it's up to you. Personally, I would say do it, try it, but oof, man, very, very difficult. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!